check out number 4 on the list. This is just a piece of stocking. It's very thin. I'm having no trouble breathing, but I want to make sure that the 6-year-old and the family know exactly what they're getting into. So this is just a sheer piece of stocking. It's very easy to breathe through, but again, if you're young or you have sensory issues, this might be a problem. For me, I actually would say I have like sensory. I'm very sensitive, and I have a hard time wearing masks or piece of fabrics are covering my face. I would not want to run with this or do a workout, but I actually could do a workout with this, and I have no trouble breathing. So if you're okay with this, we'll do the stocking, and then I'm going to layer some tissue. You'll see. And here we have just the stocking. I just added tissue on one side. This will give us a more wrinkly look. If you want to do a more textured, a thick, a wrinkly look all around the entire face, we could just stick with this type of texture. We could also go more smoother, and I could smooth this out. So I'm going to show you both ways, chunkier and more smooth. This is makeup look 4A. So this is the stocking. This is just this stocking by Hanes. The brand is listed right here. I'm breathing through it quite fine right now. I just clearly have the stocking with latex right around the nose and the mouth. Is just one piece right here, pre-cut. I put some latex around here, which does block the airways a little more. I put some latex here, but it's very, very thin around here. So I can breathe just fine. Of course, the breathing is obstructed a little bit. So we need to see if the actor, the 6-year-old, is comfortable wearing a piece of stocking on the mouth, on the nose and the mouth in one piece. Of course, in an emergency, we could take a hole in the mouth. I can breathe through this pretty well, and we could always take a hole in the nose, but of course we're going to see that hole. But we could even bring this even tighter around the nose. I can make it even tighter. I'm just going to make one nose hole just so we can see. Just as an experiment, I want you to see what it looks like with one nose hole cut. It's not obvious, but there are some very slight holes just punched on this side right here. This way I'm going to leave all this bare so we can see the texture differences between here and here. So I can add like a chunky texture all over the face. I can put this stocking all over the face so the whole entire face is one consistent material. I think that's the best, but I want to give you options. Still breathing okay. You know, I wouldn't want to work out like this, but again, I can still walk around. I could take very deep breaths of air through the stocking. The stocking is barely obstructed right here. The stocking is still on the nose. Again, I can punch a very small hole if we really need it here and here. That will help. Don't want to punch a hole right here. The stocking is still down, sealed around the edges on the face, sealed really tight to the nose and to the mouth. Again, I can breathe pretty well through the nose and the mouth, but again, it is through the stocking piece. We have a substance all around here to retexture the entire part of the face. We can do the whole face in this type of texture, and any color. We can do a tan color, we can do green, we can do blue. Just creating some raised texture here. We can make it super raised just a little bit. Just a little. This is dry, and we're covering this with glue stick, and I'm going to cover with Vaseline. Double covering the eyebrows. They're already covered in moisturizer. 3 times covered, so they're not going to fall out. This is not easily removable. In emergency, I guess we could just take it up from here, lift up this bottom piece, and then you can just, boom, breathe right through. And here we have it covered in very dark skin makeup. This is just dark skin makeup. Up close, you can see lots of texture. This is a new phone, so you can see it is definitely bumpy. Now, if we want to have this bumpiness all over, I can add more of the latex all over. So then this matches this bumpiness. I could add more stocking, so this matches this. But if we're not going to be doing such extreme close-ups where we can see every little texture detail, as you see, this is how it looks. Let's change the lighting so we can see it in different lighting. So we can see the softbox. We can see the texture differences and the lighting. Right here. Again, if we're going to use some type of blur effect, there we go. This can work. This is a very dark makeup. Let's match the eyes. She's like, where's your mouth go? So, you can see it in the daylight. Again, we can take this material, match it over here so the whole thing matches, or not. The same method on the eye. This is just going to be stockings on the eye. You can actually see through it. If you have to go to the bathroom, you can kind of see. Now we're adding texture. So now the texture, everywhere except this eye, is one texture. It's a chunky texture. Do we want chunky or do we want smooth? Chunky is going to help everything blend more. And we're going to spray this. I'm going to paint this green. Now this is the chunky way. Now we can do thin, like grainy sand. That's another alternative. So see the pieces that are real small? We can do the whole face with real small pieces. And I can also take the stocking material or tissue material and make it like a grainy. Let's do that next. This is the chunky look with a light blue body paint. We're just using a very thin body paint on it. For me to complete the look, I would like to add like some syrup, something in the texture of blood, something shiny, like a top coat on this. Chunky? Too chunky? Should we make it shiny? Whoa. Okay, so here's everything plus my green blood. I made a green blood out of my special secret solution. Covered the whole thing. You gotta leave this area kind of open because you gotta breathe out of it. And it gets harder to breathe the more stuff is on here. So this area, I can definitely dye it green so it's a little more green looking. But we can't make it shiny and chunky right here and right here. So what do we think of like a wet look? I could do this with blue, with red. I can make it purple. I can make it brown. Let me know. I can fill in this area even more if I cut holes right here and right here. Can't cut a hole right here. And you just take this off. We have so many layers of protectant. We can just peel off all this latex and glue. Should be no problem because we got so much underneath. Yep, no problem. Two, we're doing a tighter stockings around the mouth. This is only very tight. It's not wrapped around right here. I'll blend these edges. Made my own top coat for an ooze layer. This is going to make it look like the skin is melting or dripping or making them look like a melted candle. We have the stockings in the latex covered in my homemade ooze, melting skin. Now this could be to match a dark skin colored person. I can match this almost identical to the skin color. And the eye, of course, for myself doing this last time we used stockings and latex and glue. Now I'm just going to use a disc instead of any latex or stockings. This is not see-through at all, believe it or not. And we're just going to coat this in ooze. That's it. And this is why you pay the makeup artist the big bucks, because see that disc? That's a cheap move for someone who doesn't know how to do makeup. You can see that disc. I guess it could work if you wanted it to. That's one option, just trying it out. But you can see that disc. So I'm taking that off. Try to cover that eyebrow in the Vaseline and add the stocking. Stockings on, latex is all around. It's a Q-tip, add more liquid latex all around the edges to build up that layer so it blends and also to make sure it stays in place. I'm gonna wait for it to dry. I'm going to immediately use my cornstarch and syrup thickness, wrap this all around everywhere. If it doesn't look blended, I'm gonna add in some texture. We have the melted face look. Before it looked chunky, this looks like things are kind of melting and dripping. We don't have to do this much dripping. I can also, instead of making the lines look dripping this way, vertically, I can also do some lines We can do this too because it's very malleable. This is syrup and cornstarch, so this isn't going to set. We can do a bunch of lines through it. I could even do, not exact designs, but like, we can do something, we could really make it up. We can put things in it. We could put things that are bumpy in it. Yeah, so this is another idea. This is pretty easy to breathe through, believe it or not. Again, this is the stocking topped with the cornstarch and the syrup on top. Smells pretty good because it's made out of syrup. So here's another idea, and this is more glossy. So here we go, out of the bright light. Let's take this into darker light. And we can see that it's definitely difficult to talk through it. It's definitely obstructing the sound somewhat. But we can see covered. Far away. Remember, we can do this shiny method in blue, green, brown, my color skin. We can mix up the colors. This is the wet, glossy look. Again, depending if we're doing it darker, this could look totally different, not glossy. We could also do tissue all over, stockings all over. There's other methods too. Because there's so much moisturizer and Vaseline, I can just pick this up. Same with this. Smells very good. Covered in maple syrup and cornstarch. Oh my god. Alright, this video is to give you as many options as possible. So I made these discs right here. What you see here are discs made out of latex, liquid latex. You can make them in any color, and I can color them also. So right here is one of the discs. Now we have the option of placing it kind of like this, and then you be covering the eyebrows in one fell swoop. I can put some things around this and blend this out, and I can make the entire face like a tan color, but we are going to see a little, well, we don't have to see differences in texture if I change the texture to one texture, right? So I can add like something chunky, and I can make the whole face chunky. I can use these smooth discs, one here, and then one over the mouth. Now these are made of latex. There will be no way to see through this at all. What I can do is I can cut like a slit here, a slit here. I can do a slit here, and I can put stockings, you know, like lady stockings material. So this is an option I wanted to show you. So think of, we could do like a line shaped. I don't want to cut a hole in this yet, but just think of one, like a slash, and then you can see out of the eye just a little bit. So if the kid has to go to the bathroom with help, we can do a slit up and down. We could do a slit this way. I wouldn't cut an actual hole. We are going to see the hole, even though the hole is going to be filled with nude women's stockings. And also there will be makeup all over the face. We will probably see a texture difference between that stocking covered little hole piece. So I could put like a sheer material that's sort of see-through in this area. Now I can also made this discs for the nose and mouth. Now I don't even have this sealed on my face, but it's already hot. So the plan was to cut holes. Now I want you to let me know where you want the holes. I can make a hole like right down the middle, which I'm going to do to show you. I can make like slices this way. If I go sideways, it'll probably just look stupid, like I cut a hole for a mouth. So I think the best bet would be to do one line down the face. That's what I'm going to show you right now. We'll do one line. We'll see how you like that. And we're going to have stocking material down the middle right here, and down the middle here, and there'll be one line. So let's see. 3 mouth options. This is what it looks like on the outside. It'll be covered by makeup. It's not going to look like this on the face, but this is the breathing part. This is stockings, okay? So this is the thin stockings, the brand's written down, and now this is what you breathe through. That's option 1. Multiple slices, another slice, and making 2 more of the same. This is going to be a full cutout, so this is going to be all stockings in between. So it's going to be one big hole for breathing. For me, I would want a big hole for breathing. I get a little choked up, so this is what it looks like. Now, this would go on the face. See that? Everything would be glued on. The edges would be sealed. The only thing you can breathe out of are these holes. So before I seal this down, I want you to see the breathing capacity. The dark spots, that's made out of stockings. That's what you breathe out of. So this piece would be sealed. All the pieces get totally sealed to the face, glued on 100%. See? So it gets glued on and you breathe through these holes. The holes are kind of small. For 3 hours, I wouldn't really love this. Hence, I'm making these. So instead of just having these breathing holes, you have one big breathing hole that's going to be 100% female stockings in between. And you can breathe through that mesh. These are eyepieces. I just made 4 of the same. So see here, that's female stockings. So you can't really see through it. See, it blends in. It's going to cover the eye on camera. But through the light, the kid's going to be able to see some light. You might be able to see a little bit through it. Let's see what you can see through it. See? So at least you can see light. You can kind of get around. You need to step on something. You see, you could even see my lights. You have a little visibility with these. So this is how the edges are going to be. Now I'm going to blend the edges around with different waxes so I can blend that into the face. Another option is to make the whole face a little bit bumpy. So I'm going to show you that. I'm going to just put some random bumps and raised areas on my cheeks, and that can blend in some of these edges. So the whole face will have little kind of corrugated raised edges all the way around the face.